Hey, welcome to Between the Years Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Pelche, mental performance coach. Here we're bringing on coaches, players, scouts, baseball people to talk baseball. Their views and experience in recruiting, player development, and mental performance. If you're playing pro ball, college, high school, or just a parent trying to manage the matrix of travel ball, this podcast is for you. Here we go. Episode 10, Coach Jeremy Sheetinger. Coach Sheets was kind enough to join me in the craziness of summer ball. Coach Sheets is currently managing in the Cape with Chatham. Coach Sheets also manager head coach at Georgia Gwinnett College. This is a great episode. Coach Sheets always brings the energy. Coach Sheets always brings the knowledge. Coach Sheets always brings the positivity. And I look forward to you hearing this. Let's go. All right, here we go. Yeah. My guy Sheets in the car, getting ready for camp. It looks gorgeous out the back window. How you doing, bro?
I'm living the dream, man, every day.
All right, what camp you got today? Who you working with?
Just our youth camp. We've got our first week rocking and rolling, and got the kids out there. They've been crushing it all week, and I'm just going to go close it down and say goodbye to the parents. So that's my overall camp.
So I was looking at the Cape camps, and I mean, do these kids realize how spoiled they are? Like, are these all local Chatham kids, or they come from all the surrounding New England area?
Yeah, it's a mix of all that plus tourists. So it's local kids, it's kids from other communities that have a connection with Chatham, and then it's people that are in here visiting that are staying near Chatham, and they want to bring their kids over for the week and run camp. And so our players and our assistant coaches have been doing it all week and just crushing it, having a good time. I think we got a slip and slide going here in the last half of camp, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I used to do camps, man. It was all about water balloons and water guns and all that stuff, man. You gotta have fun. Right. Is it toasty Is it toasty there right now in Mass?
I mean, it is 72.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can't draw it up any better.
That's sweet. So these kids are getting, I've looked at your roster. I love me some summer ball.
Yeah.
LSU, Vandy, Washington, OU, A&M, Tech, Auburn, Mississippi State, Gonzaga, Ole Miss, USC, Alabama, Duke, like some decent programs, right? These kids are getting a taste of something real.
Yeah, the Cape is pretty special. It's a lot of really, really talented players, and the team is about the same, and there's just really good players up and down each lineup, and every arm that comes out of the pen, and it's an awesome experience. I really enjoyed hanging out with these guys.
Are you going to see I know I coached summer ball. I coached in the West Coast League. We had dudes who were in Omaha, and sometimes they didn't come. Sometimes they were like, you know what? I'm gassed. They just came off a loss. I just need a little bit of time. I know you got a guy from A&M. Are you going to see him?
Yeah, he's already here. Yeah, and then we've got we've got several that have played all the way through, and it's a lot of dynamics, man. There's a lot of there's USA baseball. There's a lot of factors in to them coming or going. So every team's going through that. It's just part of the league.
You got look at the roster. You got twins from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's wild. And they're both are they both arms?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, both of them went to USA, and one of them should be hopefully a high-end draft, and then we'll have one of them back to finish the summer.
Now, what's it like? I mean, I guess the Cape's a little bit different than the West Coast League because it's it's where everybody wants to be. It's you guys are that's where everybody's getting drafted out of, and everybody's being seen. And are you guys constantly looking for players, for arms, for bringing guys in to fill spots, or how's that working?
Yeah, it's constant roster management, man. We're looking at. We got guys that are just coming and going. We got dudes that are probably going to get picked, and you got to fill their spots. And you got guys that are getting pitch limits, and you got to fill their spots. And so you kind of start the summer with a team, and there's a little bit of coming and going. And then about the draft, you have to flip about 2/3 of that roster, and then at the end of the summer, you have guys that have played all the way through and are starting to hit the wall, and you've got to kind of bring up some new bodies, new blood to finish the year. So it's really a mix of about 3 different rosters and constant movement, but that comes with the job.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you. This is gonna be a funny one because about 2018, 2019, I listened to the ABCA podcast a lot. Did I
Yeah.
lose you there? You there?
Nope. I got you. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I don't see it. That's all good. I listen to ABCA podcasts a lot, and you killed that, and it was really good. And it was when I first heard your voice, and I reached out to you, and you talked about the mental game a lot on that, and
Yeah.
that's really kind of was the driving force. 2018, 2019 to me, really diving into the mental game, and
Right.
once I heard that, and then I saw what you were doing with your teams, I was all in. I
Yeah.
went and signed on with Brian Kane and worked with him for quite a long time, and yeah, so thank you. It's just your
Yeah.
voice
It's
and your
awesome.
message and all that, everything that you're doing right now. So let's talk about that with Georgia Gwinnett.
Sure.
What what are you guys doing on the mental side? I know it's a big part of it's important to you. What are some easy kind of things you could kind of talk about for coaches listening or for players listening that you guys are implementing that obviously helped you win a national championship?
One of the biggest pieces I think we undervalue as coaches is the 15 seconds between each pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And, we do it as coaches. So I think sometimes we forget the dynamic of what that would sound like or feel like as a player. There's an evaluation of whatever happened on that pitch, whether the umpire's right arm moved and you disagreed with the call, whether it moved and you took the pitch that you really wanted, but you locked up, the throw a good pitch and he balls it, throw a good pitch and he hits it a mile. You have all these variations of there's a reflection on the pitch before that now is right here in the present. These 15 seconds that either send you down a better path or they send you spiraling down the wrong one. And I
Yeah.
think you've got to recognize that different kids, different players deal with that differently. And so you just try to give them in our program, we call it mindfulness,
Yep.
daily meditation, but it's also what I hope is a hyper self awareness that they're extremely aware of the conversations that they're having. They're very aware of their self talk. They're
Yeah.
very aware of,
When you say conversations are having it with themselves in that 15 seconds. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, even right now as us talking, you're having a conversation because you're a host. You're listening, but you're going, oh, okay, but what if he says this, and then we can ask this question, and then we can
Yeah.
go down this road, and
I got a big cheat sheet here, bro. It's all
yeah,
good.
well, I'm just
I'm
that, that
prepped.
that that's how it works. That's like
I know.
I'm talking to our team pregame, postgame, and I'm talking it, but in my head I'm still thinking like as I say
Mm-hmm.
this, I'm gonna make sure I hit this point. We all have a narrative. We all have a narrator, and sometimes for our guys, it's taking control of that narrator's voice and making sure it's giving us positive direction. It's sending us down a better path. I think it's recognition of what your internal process is that gets you ready to be at your best the next pitch. And so we do a daily meditation. You know, Players are kind of like, what is this at first? But the more that they get into it, the more that they recognize they don't spend enough time in quiet with themselves. They don't
Yeah.
recognize how they talk, how they think, how many various thoughts they have. That the key to true mindfulness is no thought. And
Yeah.
if you step back and you were quiet and closed your eyes and you paid attention to all the various directions your brain goes, you'd be overwhelmed with how well that's sometimes how guys are in the box.
Yeah.
That's how they are on the mound. And so you're trying to let them work a tool that allows them to cut right through it, get back to a good place. A lot of that is connection with breath, using the breath to slow your heart rate down, using the breath to clear the clutter, having a default. I know Kane, as you mentioned earlier, was big on that. Ken Revisa, obviously
Yeah.
Allen, just the ability to use the breath to calm your body. Your heart rate will always follow your breath.
What
And so,
I loved, I loved Evan Longoria and how he talked about it, working with Revisa and the reminder of finding a focal point to remind yourself of having a breath. And,
sure.
it's funny. I just started implementing something and it kind of goes back to Major League Two when the catcher had the yips and he couldn't throw the ball couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher.
Yeah.
He could hose a dude it too without thinking,
Yeah.
but it was something in the helmet to remind him. So I've actually started implementing that with some of our players, and guys that are over swinging, guys that are trying to do too much. They have a little vision board in their helmet. They take it off, they look at it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, batting cage. That reminds me of what I need to do in the batting cage. Okay, I need
Yeah.
to take a breath here and be who I am in the batting cage." Or a picture of the school that they're going to, that want to go to. Okay, this is the
Yeah.
level I have to be at to get to this school. So I got to swing hard. I can't be passive.
Yeah.
So I'm all about you need those tools, those triggers, but as it's the mental work is as hard as the physical work, and I just don't see players and a lot of coaches training the mind as hard as they are training the body.
Yeah, there's definitely a tangible um, development process that you see if you are fine tuning a swing or developing arm strength or working footwork, on defense. But we talk about with our guys is that, and it's a great line that Alan stole that I stole from him, is you do become what you practice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to arrive at a place that you can be a black belt ninja as a coach in the box, on the mound, I talked to a lot of coaches, Curtis, about maybe it's something you kind of take for granted after a while, but like the ability to be present, the ability to, there's a crappy call that goes against you in the second, but you're still pissed about it in the fifth. Well, I
Yeah.
can promise you, if you're still pissed and thinking about the call in the second, you're not here in the fifth. So I know you're not present for your kids. You're not present for that moment.
Totally.
You're missing the mark. But more than that, you're not even thinking about what might happen in the sixth, seventh, eighth, or ninth. And so there's a become what you practice part of mental, development that gets you to a place where it applies to everyday life. Even in traffic, I can get cut off, and instead of getting pissed off and like chasing the dude to the gas station, I can just go, it happens. It's traffic.
Yeah.
So what? Next
Yeah.
pitch, like take a deep breath and get back to driving and turn my master P up and get back to jamming. Like it's not a it's
Na,
not
na,
a
na, na.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
a thing that has to control you. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of time, like we're very courteous and professional to umpires. But how many coaches, youth, high school, college, travel, everything the umpire does dictates their peace of mind at the ballpark. And
Yep.
it's like, yeah, I do understand that dynamic, but man, we have to be tougher than that. Like that's not going to take your call is not going to take me away from hanging out with my kids.
Well,
And
it's the uncontrollables, right? It's the
100%.
uncontrollables, and you talk about traffic and the stuff off the field. You know, it takes what it takes. It takes every day, even off the field, the habits. Like I tell clients when I'm talking to them, if I didn't take care of my business all day, I wouldn't be able to be present right now and be prepared and have my list and be able to react to what you're saying. I'd have stuff in my mind. I'd be thinking about a next call or the shitty call I just had. So, it's
Good.
it's every day, and it's not just on the field. It's everywhere you are.
Yeah.
Recruiting. How's you're obviously locked in the Cape. What's going on for recruiting for your team? What are you looking for? How are you looking to recruit for Georgia Gwinnett?
Yeah, one of the unique things we kind of figured out when I got there was what works on our level, what works to sustain, being a top one, two, three program in the country. And to be fair, it's not high school recruiting for us. And this was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We our level is made of a lot of older kids, transfers, kids with perspective, kids with experience, and every program can do it however they want. But I actually enjoy coaching players that have been maybe one or two different places because they come in with a perspective that I know what we do, how we do it, and it fits the voids that they've been looking for. And sometimes the high school guy doesn't quite know any different, and
Yeah.
it takes time. But we're not a rebuild program; we're a reload program. So like this year was a team. I think it was our sixth straight appearance in the World Series, and great season, and not back to back National Players of the Year, and man, awesome. Well, we lost, 10 seniors, and I think 7 of those 10 are going to sign professionally. That's
Wow.
great, but we have to reload. We have to
Yeah.
bring in players that are as good. if not better than the 10 we just lost. And so it's a constant, work through junior college, obviously the portal, any kind of transfer kid. Luckily, you've got a great assistant coach and recruiting coordinator back home that's basically running the program right now for us and killing it on every front. We signed a really good class before I got here. We've signed some really good players since I've been here, and we've still got a few more pieces we're looking to fill. But it's a very older centric recruiting plan that we've been able to have success with.
Eddie Smith from Utah Valley, I had him on yesterday, and he said Friday nights are one in the summer. They're
Yeah,
one
that's a
in they're
fact.
one in that's that was such a great line.
Yeah,
Friday nights are one in the summer. It's
yeah,
those calls, it's the effort you're putting into your recruiting calls, the trips, the
that's
everything
right.
like that.
That's right.
So where you getting these seniors? Where are you getting these old dudes? I know you I had Adam McKillican on episode 2. He's a
Yeah,
guy I've known for a long time, and he was
yeah,
an example of a guy he was at UBC, and
yeah.
there was a crazy COVID stuff, and you were able to pick him up.
Those are our kind of guys. I mean, we really again, you want. Let me back up. I like guys that walk in and they may have had good experiences or sometimes bad experiences. It doesn't matter. But they show up and they go, you know what? For my last stop, I want unconditional love and support. I want an environment that helps me, become the best version of myself. I want a coaching staff that I know I can look in the eye, I can trust, and I know what I'm going to get consistently every single day. All these, and that's how we've built the program. That's what I hold myself to every single day. But more than that, I think that's why we've been able to get the best versions out of a guy like McKillican or a guy like Blaze O'Saban, who was National Player of the Year 2 years before that, AJ Sidkowski. Those are guys that came in with either 1, 2, or 3 years, but they all brought their own value
Mhm.
to our program, and they found an environment that helped them actualize who they wanted to be. I really believe this, Curtis, and it's one thing to say it, talkers and walkers. It's one thing to say it, it's another to live it. We live it. Is I really believe if you build better people, you're building better baseball players. And so a lot of our conversations are centered around personal development and helping these guys grow up and helping them realize there's a story that has been told to them or they've told themselves along the way, and they actually here at GGC have a chance to grab the pen and start
Yeah.
writing the story the way that they want. They get to compete on their own terms. They get to become who they want to become in this game on their own terms. They get to actualize a professional baseball career. Blaze is a great example. He came in with 3 years, and to be fair, he was a guy that was a little unsure of who he was. And the more that he kept actualizing himself and becoming who he wanted to become, he went from like a guy that was a good player to the National Player of the Year. And a lot of it came because he just went, man, I want to be confident. I'm tired of playing timid. I got the best speed in the country. Why am I only stealing 10, 15 bags? This year he stole 50. He's walked into
Wow.
professional baseball and he's hitting 600 with 8 bags and 12 runs. Like he finally actualized, and it takes time. So for us, it's like if you give us who you are, our environment is going to bring it out of you, but you got to work at it, and we're gonna challenge you every day. And a lot of it's not like, hey, I need better BP. It's, hey, I need you to have a better leadership voice. I need
Yeah.
you to be better in terms of your daily routine. I need you to be better in terms of your recovery. I need you to be tougher in these moments because these are the moments that can define who you are and your decisions moving forward. It's a lot of from a personal side of things. I really believe if you're working at building better people, then the baseball stuff takes care of itself.
Well, you just nailed it there. I mean, these guys are getting a lesson, a piece, such a valuable opportunity for the rest of their lives off the field to
Hope
go
so.
to learn how to go after something for real. And
Yeah. Yeah.
with that comes failure, though.
Yeah.
When you have an idea, it's like, hey, I want to do this. Like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. You really want to do it? Let's do it. With
Yeah.
that comes failure. And it's hard when you're competing for positions and you're competing for jobs. Outcome goals are mandatory. You have to have outcome. Process
Yeah.
process kind of runs by the wayside, and we lose track of process goals when we're in competitive baseball. But
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys are all about process, and
Well,
a good process to me is the best outcome of a goal you can have.
100%.
Yeah,
And I've told this to our boys up here. You hear trust the process, and we see that on social
yeah,
media. We see that
yeah,
happen in space. I always laugh. It's like play hard, play smart, play together is on the back of every middle school basketball
yeah.
T-shirt. I
Words.
get
Yeah,
it. It sounds cliche. Well, it's a cliche until you understand it, and when you understand it, then you become what you practice. It becomes who you are. Then it becomes a mentality. Then it becomes a lifestyle.
yeah,
And that is the transition we're trying to walk these guys through. Is, hey, I'm going to say it, and you're going to hear it, and you're going to hear it again. And again, I bring up Blaze just because he's on my mind. If he sat in with me right here in the passenger seat, he would say, "Man, trust the process is real," because of how he actualized himself over 3 years. You have to trust the plan of development. Well, it's got to be baked into your DNA. It's got to be the way you see the world. It can't be. I screwed up as a 16-year-old, and forever and ever, even at 25 or 30 or 45, that's who I am at
mm-hmm.
16. But how many of us do that? How many of us
Yeah,
hold on to something that happened years ago, days ago, hours ago, and we bring it into the present with us, and we make that part of our presence with people. We make that part of our self-esteem, and you just have to trust that there's ups and downs. Thank God I'm better today than I was yesterday. And you just sort of see the progression that we've all made. Curtis, we're very aware, and we go right on our guys being able to look back at moments and look back at progression and look back in May who they were in February, let alone who they were yesterday
yeah,
in practice. And the
yeah,
ability to do that and just go, oh my gosh, I'm climbing this mountain. You don't
yeah.
stare at the bottom and look up. You just start taking steps. And as you take steps, and they might be sideways, you might take a step back, and all that is part of it. But the more you climb, you look back and go, remember where I was 2 weeks ago?
Totally.
That becomes a lifestyle, and that's the way I want them to attack life.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you talk about the process and trust the process. I actually wrote a little book. It's called Trust the Process, but I had the crossed out, and I had your in cursive, and
There it is. Yeah,
that was something I learned from Brian Kane that really stuck with me was
yeah,
the creation of your own personal process.
that's right.
That trust the process. It's funny. I ask kids, I ask athletes, what does trust the process mean to you? And they're like, oh well, um,
Sure.
and we got to dial that in.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
last piece here. We'll keep this wrapped up nice and short. I know you got the kids out there, but
It's all good.
what when I worked in summer ball, my goal when players came in was to work on something, to try to get better at something when they were in Victoria, when they were with me for a couple months. Like, hey, let's pick something. You're already real good.
Hmm.
Let's pick something that you really need to work at, and let's be okay with some failure in this process. Now, I know it's a little different with the portal right now because guys are potentially like free agents in summer ball, so
Sure.
there's a little bit more onus on performance.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything in the Cape with Chatham? Are you talking to the guys? Hey, let's work on dialing that two seamer in, or let's get that change up locked in.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we like to win, we want to win, but I think the biggest win is sending kids off with a new tool.
Yeah. No, 100%. Every guy we've had conversations with, what do you want to work on?
Yep.
What are the parts of your game that you feel like you need to address? And it's been, obviously through wins and losses, you just the conversations change, and you just sort of you hear the way that they're working through at bats. We've got, and it's varying degrees, right? You got kids that every game they want to sort of study what happened and what the next move is. You have kids that, as we talk, we try to chunk. Hey, this 4 game stretch. Let's make these adjustments, and let's really evaluate over this period of time how it looks, how it goes. And we've done that offensively. We've done that on the mound. We've done that individually. But every guy has this plan. But you're right. It's a performance driven league, and so you still got to show up. You still got to put barrels on balls. You still got to get people out. But for us as coaches, we're able to go back and really fine tune and go, And then, recognize that spot. Like when you miss middle in this league, you get punished. Even if you're 98, you
Yeah.
still get punished. And so you've got to recognize how to locate this pitch, because the confidence that you should have on the mound is, if I locate a pitch where I want, and I get the swing that I'm looking for, I'm going to break his back.
Yeah.
Because again, you've got extreme velocity or really sharp off speed. The offensive guys working through the recognition of how they're getting pitched. We had that conversation a couple of days ago. Hey, we have scouting reports on every hitter. Do you not think that they do on you? So are you
Totally.
interested in what that information might be?
Mhm.
Can you maturely recognize how you're getting pitched and go, oh, I bet on my sheet, my cold map is right here. My hot
Yeah.
zone is here. No wonder I haven't seen a pitch in my hot zone. It's just recognition of those things. They're still young players. They're 19, 20, 21, but they still are just like every other ball player. They just have to be uh, aware, and then obviously develop a plan on how they're going to attack those things. That's all we're trying to do for these guys.
And have a little bit of fun. I mean, summer ball is
Oh
fun.
yeah, we're trying to enjoy it, man. That's for sure.
Summer ball should be something you never forget. I mean,
Yeah,
it's should be one of the best memories of these kids' lives, man.
yeah, yeah.
It's really cool.
We
When you
always talk
guys are
about this.
sorry,
We
go ahead.
always talk about this, Curtis. Like on our worst day, like on a day that we get spanked, on a day that none of it went well, on a day that just we got ran off the field. You know what? We're in the Cape and we're in Chatham, and life is pretty damn good. So we're
Oh,
good.
yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What's the longest bus ride for y'all?
45 minutes.
God dang,
It's
dude.
phenomenal. It's we're in the elbow of the Cape,
Yeah,
and to be able to go up north and be able to go over to the west, but us to be able, like today, we're going to take a 20-minute drive to YD and play,
yeah.
and then come home, and you just can't draw it up anymore. It's awesome.
No, you can't. You can't, especially, for myself being in the West Coast League, we're talking 9-hour bus rides and sleeping on buses. And, I think everybody should have to experience that, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's part of it. Now,
yeah,
just quickly before I get you out of here, you're talking about hot zones, cold zones, kind of scouting reports.
yeah.
Where are you getting that intel? Where are you getting that info? Are you guys using Synergy? Are you guys, TrackMan, all that?
Yeah, we have TrackMan that's
Yeah.
built into every one of the
Hmm.
fields up here, which is really cool. It's a great
Yep.
partnership.
Yep.
Synergy has a partnership with the league, so access to that. And then True Media, we really
Yep.
enjoyed True Media. It's able to do a lot of things that Synergy does, but really opens up some different opportunities for us. So, and just using that information. And again, man, like I don't care about right, left, left. Man, if you got stuff, you can
Yep.
go get dudes out. So
Yep.
like,
Yep.
but I think it's a lot of, for these guys, this is we're not making it up. Like here's the data. This is what
Yep.
it says, and this is on paper who you are. Well, the same report we're pulling off is the same one MLB organizations are pulling off.
Yeah.
So let's evaluate it, recognize it, and work at it. And I tell you what, it's really opened some eyes, and it's provoked some really cool conversations.
The challenge to all that though is, you guys are playing what, 40 games in what, 48 days kind of deal. It's
Pretty much, yeah, yeah.
pretty much, right? It's not like when you're at school and you got 3-4 days to go over it with your players and schedule
Yeah,
meetings. It's like, okay, we got to get here early. We got to go through who's up, who's up, who's up. Let's
yeah,
talk. Let's
that's
talk.
right.
Let's talk. And you're sitting in your car. We have to reschedule. It's just it's
Sure.
you got to be organized, man. And I know you got a lot
Yeah,
going on and a lot on your plate. So,
yeah.
Sheets, I appreciate your time, brother.
My
It's a
pleasure,
pleasure
man.
having you on, and everything you shared is so valuable. And
Yeah, I appreciate it,
yeah,
Curtis.
good
Appreciate
luck.
what
Good
you're
luck.
doing, my man.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Good luck the rest of the season. This is your vacation, I assume.
It
This is your
is,
time
yeah.
off. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, time
Because you
off. I
roll.
wish I wish you could call it time off.
Well, it's I mean, I know you get a little. Well, I'm not even gonna go there because I know how busy it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank you. I'm just gonna keep you on for a couple seconds here after I stop the recording so I can make
sure.
sure it uploads properly. Thanks,
Sure.
brother.
All good, man.